I appreciate the opportunity to join you all. Senator Grassley, thank you for the invitation. I think that it is fair to say that every one of us at this table, and certainly each of you, we all want what is best for women. We differ on what that is, and we differ on how to get there. And I am very appreciative of the opportunity to be here and to talk with you about this legislation, the Women's Health Protection Act. In my opinion, it is something that is extraordinarily broad, it is loosely written, and through its wide-ranging words would, in my opinion, substitute the special interest of the abortion issue and industry for both the well-being of women and the value of human life. The legislation would jeopardize and nullify hundreds of laws, as has previously been mentioned at this table. Laws that protect both mothers and their unborn children. Among my concerns with the bill, and Senator Grassley mentioned several of these, it would render impossible efforts by the states to limit abortions based on the sex of the child. It would put a double pressure on women who are often forced by familial or cultural pressures to exercise male bias in pregnancy and eliminate a female child. Furthermore, this legislation sets a dangerous precedent because it would place unconstitutional limits on a state's ability to assure the safety of medical facilities. Abortions are indeed invasive medical procedures and should be regulated by the states as such. In addition, by considering this legislation, many of your constituents perceive that this body is out of touch with the consensus opinion in this country. Public opinion polls show time and again that the American people support limits on abortion. They support this. 60% of Americans believe abortion should not be permitted in the second trimester, and an overwhelming 80% believe it should never happen in the third. Women hold these convictions at a higher percentage than men, and it is no wonder. We bear life, and we bear the burden when public policies fail to support women at a critical hour. The committee would be well advised to consider how far this bill goes in reversing and uprooting both a long existing and rising consensus. S 1696 would attack conscious exemptions that have existed since the '73 abortion decision. It would bar laws that provide for periods of reflection and consideration before an abortion is chosen. It would even prevent a state from assuring that a physician is physically present when abortion drugs are given, or even that only a physician may perform a surgical abortion. It would make the abortion process less safe. What the Senate should be considering today is the Pain-Capable Unborn Child Protection Act, which passed the House of Representatives on June 17, 2014 on a bipartisan vote, 228 to 196. The Pain-Capable Act is a piece of legislation that is supported by the American people. It is based in science and filled with compassion. The Pain-Capable Unborn Child Protection Act limits abortions after the 20th week of pregnancy, except in the instances of rape, incest, or to protect the life of the mother. Our nation is one of only about 7 countries in the world to allow elective abortion to term, and this legislation would take one small but vital step to move us closer to the international norms. Polls by Quinnipiac University, the Washington Post, and the Huffington Post have all shown that a strong majority of people support limiting abortion after the 20th week of pregnancy. Quinnipiac University's poll shows that women support a 20-week limit in even greater numbers than men, 60% of women versus 20% in opposition, 35-point margin. Let me give you an example of why these have changed. You all have an exhibit from me, and I want to show you this. This is a 3D ultrasound of my grandson. It was made on March 11th of 2009, before his birth, June 12th of 2009. This is the wonder of science. And I have to tell you how exciting it was for me to see this ultrasound. I was thrilled. I could tell before he was born, 3 months before he was born, he had my eyes and nose. Now, for a grandmother, that's a really big deal. I could see his hands, I could see his arms, and I could see him peacefully resting in his mother's womb. That's the wonder of science. That is life. Our Constitution does not put a qualifier on life. The pursuit of life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, those protections, the right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, even in the mother's womb.